Abandoned on Proxima. Commander Elena Reyes stood at the edge of New Haven's perimeter wall, watching the twin suns of Proxima Centauri dip below the horizon. The settlement, humanity's most distant outpost, stretched behind her in a patchwork of domes, greenhouses, and repurposed landing modules. 8 years of blood, sweat, and sacrifice had transformed this hostile world into something resembling a home for nearly 2,000 colonists. But lately, home felt more like a prison. Still no response from Earth. Major Keto asked, joining her at the wall. The security chief's weathered face betrayed the same concern that had kept Elena awake for weeks. 7 months of silence. Elena replied, eyes fixed on the darkening alien landscape. The quantum relay is functioning perfectly. They're just not answering. The quantum communication system had been Proxima Colony's lifeline to Earth, until one day it simply stopped receiving transmissions. At first, they'd blamed technical issues or solar interference. By month 3, those explanations had worn thin. By month 5, panic had begun to settle in. The Colony Council is meeting in an hour, Keto said. They're demanding answers I don't have. Elena sighed. Tell them what we've been telling them. Communication disruptions happen. Earth hasn't abandoned us. But even as she spoke the words, Elena struggled to believe them. The biannual supply ships were now 4 months overdue. Their last scheduled message had contained cryptic references to political upheaval and resource prioritization. Something had gone terribly wrong back home. The council meeting proceeded exactly as Elena had feared. Representatives from each colony sector voiced the same concerns: dwindling medical supplies, delayed expansion projects, and the growing fear among colonists. We need to face facts, Dr. Sanjay Mehta, head of the science division, said bluntly. Either Earth can't reach us or they won't. Either way, we're on our own. Elena was about to respond when the chamber door burst open. Aisha Chen, head communications officer, rushed in, face pale with shock. Commander, we're detecting an anomaly at the edge of our system, she reported, breathless. Massive energy signatures, unlike anything in our database. Within minutes, Elena had assembled her command team in the colony's small operations center. The main display showed a cluster of objects moving through the outer solar system, decelerating as they approached Proxima b. First appeared beyond the orbit of Proxima d, Chen explained. They're moving at just under 0.1 c but slowing rapidly. Trajectory suggests they'll reach us in approximately 72 hours. Ships? Elena asked, studying the readings. Dr. Mehta adjusted his glasses. They must be. The energy output is too consistent for natural phenomena, and the deceleration is clearly controlled. But, Commander, they're not ours. A heavy silence fell over the room. Not human, you mean, Keto clarified, his hand instinctively moving to the sidearm he always carried. The propulsion signatures don't match anything in our database, Chen confirmed. And they're enormous. The largest one is nearly 2 kilometers long. Elena stared at the display, the implications sinking in. Humanity had spent centuries searching for intelligent alien life. Now it appeared that alien life had found them, just when Earth had gone silent. I want colony-wide preparation protocols initiated, Elena ordered. No public announcements yet. I don't want panic. Kato, assess our defense capabilities. Dr. Mehta, I need all the data you can gather on these vessels. And Chen, keep trying Earth. Send on all emergency channels. Over the next 2 days, New Haven transformed. Under the guise of emergency readiness drills, Kato's security team distributed weapons and established defensive positions. The science team worked around the clock analyzing the approaching vessels, while engineers reinforced critical infrastructure. 54 hours after the initial detection, Chen made the breakthrough they'd been hoping for. Commander, they're broadcasting, she called out, frantically adjusting communications equipment. I think it's directed at us. The message, when they finally deciphered it, was simple and chilling. Human settlement identified. Prepare for assessment. Resistance will accelerate termination protocols. They know we're here, Keto said grimly. And they don't sound friendly. Elena made the decision to address the colony. Standing before nearly 2,000 frightened faces, she revealed the truth about their visitors and Earth's silence. The fear was palpable, but so was the determination. These colonists were pioneers, the type of people who had voluntarily left Earth to forge a new home among the stars. It would not surrender easily. As the alien fleet entered orbit, New Haven went dark. All non-essential systems powered down, the colony retreating underground into emergency shelters. On the surface, only a skeleton crew remained at command, Elena among them. The first landing vessels descended 12 hours later, sleek, obsidian craft that touched down just beyond the colony's perimeter. What emerged defied human expectations of alien life. They walked on two legs like humans, but stood nearly 3 meters tall, with elongated limbs covered in what appeared to be an iridescent exoskeleton. Their faces, if they could be called that, featured no discernible eyes or mouth, just smooth, reflective surfaces that shifted and rippled like liquid metal. "We are the Vexenar," the lead alien announced, its words somehow manifesting directly in the humans' minds. "This world has been selected for integration into the collective. Your species has been cataloged as Type C subordinate life form. You will submit to processing." Elena stepped forward as the colony's representative. "This is a sovereign human settlement. We've invested years developing this world and have no hostile intentions toward your people. We propose peaceful coexistence and cultural exchange." The alien surface rippled in what might have been amusement. "Your proposal is irrelevant. The collective requires your biological material and technological data. Your consciousness patterns will be preserved in the archive. Your physical forms will be repurposed." "Repurposed?" Elena asked, fighting to keep her voice steady. "Please clarify." "Your species produces efficient biological compounds useful to the collective. Your individual existence is inefficient. You will be processed into component resources." The meaning was unmistakable. They weren't facing conquest. They were facing harvest. The diplomatic meeting ended with the aliens returning to their vessels with a final message. Preparation will commence in one planetary rotation. Resistance is discouraged but will not affect the outcome. Back in the emergency command center, Elena faced her leadership team. "Options. Fight," Cato said immediately. "We have the mining explosives, defensive weaponry, and home field advantage. We make them pay for every inch. With what they're carrying, they could obliterate us from orbit," Dr. Mehta countered. "These beings possess technology centuries beyond ours." "We could try to negotiate for more time," Chen suggested. "Tell them we need to prepare our people properly." Elena considered each option carefully before making her decision. "We do all three. Chen, request a preparation extension. Buy us as much time as possible. Cato, prepare defensive measures, but keep them hidden. And Dr. Mehta, I need your team to analyze everything we have on their technology and biology. Find weaknesses." As the others left to execute their tasks, Elena made one more decision. She recorded a comprehensive message detailing everything they had learned about the Vexenar and New Haven situation. Using the quantum relay's full power, she transmitted it toward Earth on all available frequencies. "This is Commander Elena Reyes of Proxima Colony," she concluded. "If anyone receives this, Earth has gone silent, and we are facing extinction at the hands of a hostile alien species. We will resist as long as possible, but we are outmatched. If humanity still exists out there, remember us." The Vexenar granted them a mere 12 additional hours for preparation, time the colonists used to distribute weapons, secure vital resources, and move the most vulnerable members of their community into the deepest underground shelters. As the deadline approached, Elena found herself back at the perimeter wall where she had stood just days earlier. The alien ships loomed in the distance, pulsing with ominous energy. Behind her, Nearly 2,000 humans prepared to fight for their very existence. Do you think Earth would have come if they could? Cato asked, joining her one last time. Elena turned to look at New Haven, at what they had built so far from home. I have to believe they would. But right now, we're all the humanity this world has. The first explosions lit up the evening sky as the Vexnar began their advance. The reckoning. 3 months into the occupation, New Haven had become unrecognizable. The once thriving settlement had been methodically dismantled, with alien structures rising from the ruins. The remaining colonists lived as shadows, either in hiding or as prisoners in the processing camps. Elena Rice led what remained of the resistance from the abandoned mining tunnels beneath the colony. Nearly half their original population had been processed, a clinical term for the horror of watching humans being systematically broken down into their component parts. The northern camp has increased security, Cato reported during their nightly strategy meeting. The security chief's face was gaunt, a fresh scar running from temple to jaw. They're accelerating the processing schedule. Any idea why? Elena asked, studying their crude map of Vexnar installations. Dr. Mehta nodded grimly. I've been monitoring their communications. They appear to be harvesting on a schedule. Something about a collection vessel arriving within 2 weeks. A bigger ship? Chen asked. The communications officer had lost an eye during a raid gone wrong, but had compensated by developing an almost supernatural ability to hack into alien systems. Much bigger, Mehta confirmed. From what I can gather, they've been preparing us for bulk transport. When this vessel arrives, they'll accelerate processing to maximum capacity. Elena considered this grim news. Their resistance had been effective but limited, sabotaging equipment, disrupting power systems, occasionally freeing small groups of prisoners. But each action cost lives they couldn't spare. We need to hit them harder, Cato insisted. Use the rest of the mining explosives on their central processing facility. That's suicide, Chen objected. And it would only delay them, not stop them. Elena was about to respond when a young resistance member burst into the chamber. Commander, the communications array, it's picking up something. For months, they had maintained a skeleton crew at their hidden backup communications facility, monitoring for any sign that their final message had been received. Until now, there had been nothing but silence. Elena followed the messenger through the narrow tunnels to the communications room, where an operator sat wide-eyed before their cobbled-together equipment. It came through the quantum relay, the operator explained. Authenticated Earth military protocols, but it's not from Earth. Elena leaned forward as the message replayed. Proxima Colony. This is Admiral Zhang, UES Dauntless. Message received. Hold position. Arrival imminent. Authentication code follows. The authentication code was valid. A high-level military sequence that couldn't be faked. Could it be a trap? Cato asked, ever suspicious. The Vexnar trying to draw us out. The code is legitimate, Chen said, checking the encryption. And the transmission method? The Vexnar don't use quantum communication. They couldn't have intercepted or replicated this. Hope, dangerous, fragile hope, began to spread through the room. How long until this arrival? Elena asked. Chen performed rapid calculations, based on the signal degradation and assuming they're coming at maximum military speed. 3 days, maybe 4. For the first time in months, Elena allowed herself to smile. Then we need to be ready. The Vexnar are about to learn they picked the wrong species to harvest. The resistance shifted into high gear, preparing for whatever assistance was coming. Elena organized her people into strike teams, ready to hit key Vexnar installations the moment help arrived. Dr. Mehta compiled all their intelligence on alien weaknesses, while Chen worked to establish more secure communications. The Vexnar, meanwhile, seemed oblivious to the coming threat, continuing their methodical processing of human captives and dismantling of colony infrastructure. On the 4th day, as hope began to waver, the sky above Proxima B lit up with the unmistakable energy signatures of ships dropping out of FTL travel. But these weren't the handful of vessels they had expected. "My God," whispered Dr. Mehta, staring at their sensor readings. "I'm counting over 40 ships. Large ones." The Resistance's hidden sensors captured the moment the human fleet emerged, a vast armada of warships, dwarfing the Vexnar vessels in both size and number. The largest, presumably the Dauntless, stretched nearly 5 kilometers from bow to stern, bristling with weapon systems unlike anything the colonists had seen before. "That's not a rescue ship," Cato said, voice filled with awe. "That's an extermination fleet." The Vexnar responded immediately, their harvesting ships abandoning the surface to meet the newcomers. But they were outmatched in every way. The human fleet moved with practiced precision, cutting through the alien defenses with devastating efficiency. As the space battle raged overhead, smaller craft detached from the human fleet, descending toward the colony. The Lena led a team to the designated landing zone, a hidden valley 5 kilometers from the main Vexnar installation. The ships that landed were sleek combat transports bearing an insignia none of the colonists recognized, a stylized phoenix surrounding Earth, with stars marking what appeared to be colonial worlds. The Admiral smiled grimly, a united human species that refuses to be prey. They believed humanity was gone until the fleet arrived in force. The Vexnar won't make that mistake again, nor will any other species that might be watching. As the twin suns of Proxima Centauri rose on a new day, Alina Rise looked out at the bustling activity below, at humans from Earth, and dozens of colonies working together to rebuild what had been lost. They had been tested in fire, and had emerged stronger. "We thought no one would come," she said softly. "We will always come," John replied. "That's the promise we make to each other now. Wherever humanity takes root among the stars, we stand together." And for the first time in nearly a year, Alina truly believed it.